Cyber Reapers. Hello, Cyber Reapers. So, tonight, or today, whenever, wherever you are, I would like to talk about a book. Alright, this one is called The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School by Sonora Reyes. Now, I read another book by Sonora Reyes recently, and I really liked the writing style of that, so I was really curious to check out their other works, and I'm so glad I did. I think this book actually is added now to my, one of my favorite books now. It balanced, it's a contemporary that balances comedy and tragedy so well. I mean, there's really serious moments and really comedic ones that the main character, her compelling voice just really makes the serious moments all the more serious, and the comedic ones just super comedic. The situations can be funny, and just the way she reacts to things can be hilarious. So I loved this book. So to describe the premise is a little difficult in the sense of a lot of it is just a bunch of shenanigans that kind of come up throughout the book. It does have an overall, guiding premise, though, that I can tell you. But there are some things that are really special about the book that I think aren't revealed in the book's blurb. And so I think it goes into spoiler territory. So I'm not going to cover some of the stuff I did absolutely love about the book that are later. But just know that those moments are there. The book is very consistently, it's consistently the way it is from start to finish, It doesn't ever feel like it lags at any point in time. The pace just keeps up well. So, let's talk about our main character, Yamilet. Alright, so, Yamilet, she is, also, you can call her Yami for short if, you're close friends with her. She'll let you do that. So I might call her Yami sometimes. But yeah, our main character, Yami, she is a Latina, Mexican-American, and she's brown, and she's also a lesbian. Thing is, though, not really many people know that, and yeah, probably for the best based on the area that she's in and her family. Let's talk about her family real quick. She lives with her brother, who is about a year younger than her, but also in high school age. They're both high schoolers, and they live with their mother. Now, their father got deported, so they don't get to see him very often, but see him over phone calls, and they talk with him pretty regularly. And yeah, it's that's their, tight-knit family group. And Yami, she loves her family, but with the homophobic jokes her mom makes, and just some of the way it just seems like not the greatest or safest place to admit that she is lesbian. So, for that reason, she keeps it quiet. In addition, though, she also keeps it quiet because she had a bad experience telling it to someone once. Now, fairly recently, to the beginning of this book, she comes out to her best friend, and she knew her best friend for years. She also kind of developed a bit of a crush on her and maybe thought that Bianca, Yami's best friend, would maybe like her back. Unfortunately, no. Bianca just, nope, did not reciprocate those feelings. In fact, she held very homophobic feelings, and it didn't really surface until after Yamilet said something. So their friendship broke apart as soon as Bianca started telling other people about it and distancing herself and her mom from Yamilet. So not a good experience. And so, Yami at this point is going, you know what, I'm just gonna keep it to myself now. I don't feel safe telling people, even someone who I was close with and thought I could trust with this information. Just completely bad experience from that. But now Yamilet has a chance to start over, because her mother noticed that, Caesar is Yamilet's brother. Caesar's been kind of getting into fights at their school, and his grades have been slipping, even though he's a really smart student, and a really good student in general. It's just recently there have been problems with other students, so their mother decides, you know what, I'm gonna have both of you go to Catholic school. It's a fresh start, and hopefully Caesar will keep out of trouble there. And Yamilet, you as the older sister, I need you to watch over him. And that's just kind of the way their dynamic has often been. In front of their mother, at least, Yamilet watches out for Caesar. So, and that's kind of a point of tension with Yami, because while she does look out for her younger brother, it sort of seems like her mother is overly interested in Caesar, but not really much of anything to do with how Yamilet's doing. And so she feels pretty left out, and thinking that just anything that her mother cares to ask her about is just anything having to do with Caesar. So, bit of a tension there. And yeah. But now Caesar and Yamilet are starting over at this new school, a Catholic school. And it seems like things are kind of going off to a good start, sort of. At least in the sense of, Caesar's sort of getting good grades, and Yamilet has decided, since no one here knows that she's gay, she's just gonna keep it that way. And, just pretend that she's straight for as much as she can. But there's one other openly gay girl at this school, and Yamilet happens to befriend her. And so her name is Bo, and she's great. She wears like rainbow rainbow decorated shoes and stuff, and she's I'm blanking, Chinese American, and she was adopted by white parents. And I say this because this is part of kind of her familial journey that she goes through in her book, or in the book, is kind of trying to explore her like Chinese heritage and culture on her own terms. And so that's kind of a lot of her conflict that doesn't have to do with Yamilet. But when it comes to Yamilet, they start getting really close, and Yamilet just slips up a few times in trying to hide that she's gay and that she's attracted to Bo, and then even starts to like her. And so she makes some slip-ups. Yamilet decides to, well, I won't say exactly what, but she repeatedly tries to cover for herself in ways that kind of shoots herself in the foot. So it's shenanigans, a lot of shenanigans, and there are a lot of lines that just made me laugh out loud, because the way that she reacts to things is it can be just so humorous to read, and that pairs well with the chapter titles too, because all the chapter titles are pretty much all of them are funny, and I think the last few are, they're sweet, more than funny, but a lot of them, the majority of them, make me laugh. Like I flip the page to the next chapter and I just start laughing, so it's a good feeling. Because yeah, she's able to find humor in her social suffering in a way. Kind of self-deprecation-ish almost, but not quite. I don't know what that type of humor is called, actually, where you're you're sort of making fun of a situation you don't want to be in, but you kind of put yourself in that situation yourself. So I don't know. I think that humor, though, is kind of what shows up a lot in this book. So yeah. But while things are very, very humorous throughout the book, there are also a decent amount of, there's a decent amount of just things that Yamilet goes through that are kind of tough, tough topics to go through. And I think I'll maybe put a content warning in the description so that I don't say some of these things out loud, and maybe you're only half listening, and then I say a specific word and you bolt awake or bolt into listening. Because, yeah, the book does cover some heavy issues, and so I'll put the content warnings for what I'm not gonna say in the description. And, yeah, otherwise, I would say I can at least kind of describe that there are things having to do with, Yamilet and Caesar are like a couple of the few students in school who are, students of color. Like, it's predominantly a bunch of white kids, and there are times when that's particularly noticeable. And so there's kind of that direction. There's also mental health related issues that I saw coming, and I was very concerned about because it happens to a character that Yamilet is close to, and she has to figure out how to support somebody who's going through a really, really dark mental state. And so that's another heavy issue. Were there any others I wanted to just kind of allude to? I guess just more things about being in the closet, and like how Yamilet has to save up, or she feels that she should work in order to save up money so that in case her mother doesn't accept her, that she can move out and be able to support herself well enough, and just there's a lot of heaviness in this story. I will say, I think the book ends in a very optimistic note, a very positive one, where, yes, the heaviness doesn't completely go away, and there are some people who just will not accept Yamilet for who she is, but there are also a lot of people who will support her, and the way that support shows through this story is wonderful, and I absolutely love it. So I think it's overall a very positive story. Well, I covered my notes actually very quickly. There were a few things, though, I wanted to just talk about certain characters a little more. For example, Caesar, who is Yamilet's brother. I absolutely love the dynamic between the two of them. The sibling energy is strong with these two, and it's just so, it's refreshing to read a sibling dynamic that feels genuine, like they make fun of each other, they have unspoken rules, they mess with each other, but whenever it really matters, they defend each other, that kind of a thing. And I feel like I really enjoy reading sibling dynamics like that. And I think actually the two siblings, they kind of remind me of the two siblings I wrote, Annalisa and Leon, in When Truth Cowers, my debut novel. And I really like writing sibling energy, I guess, like that, It's kind of odd for me because I think the dynamic between me and my siblings, it's not normal. The age gap kind of makes a bit of a difference. closest in age brother of mine is 12 years older than me. And so, like, our dynamic is, I think, a lot more mature than most siblings, I guess, if that's the word. But we still mess with each other, you know? Yeah. So I like writing, you know, positive sibling dynamics like that. Kind of to, as a way of, like, reflecting on my own, like, appreciation for my brother. What else, though? Oh, their mother. Yeah, Caesar and Yamilet's mother underwent so much character growth, and I love her so much. I was a bit worried about her, but I love her. I love her. By the end of the book, yeah. And their dad is an interesting character. I won't say much on him, because I think you kind of have to read in order to suss out, like, what's going on with him. But he makes for an interesting character. So I also wanted to talk about Bo as well, just a little bit more, because I think I really loved how, for Yamilet and Bo, they both had their own insecurities, and even were, like, sort of jealous of each other in some ways. But, you know, through communication, and, like, they kind of realized that their insecurities kind of pair well with each other, or at least they boost each other's confidence in ways that I think only they can. So, yeah, I really enjoyed their dynamic. Plus just the way that they adapted to each other. Yamilet's used to having music playing in the house, you know, so when she's over at Bo's house, whenever Bo realizes that that's part of Yamilet's norm, or just normal day-to-day life, Bo plays music on a speaker for her, so that music can be playing and it's not just silence, you know, in the house. I mean, outside of talking. So, yeah. Anything else? Oh yeah, just in case it helps. Bo is also a dog person. She adopts dogs, particularly ones that are not the most, you know, societally deemed pretty looking ones. I don't know how to better put that. She adopts dogs that other people are less likely to adopt, so that's really cute. What else did I have? Anything else in my notes? I think that actually might have been it. Yeah, I mean, I see why this book has all those medals on it, you know, of, like, finalists and awards and things, because it really had such a bold voice to it, and it balanced the comedic and the darker elements so well, while keeping to a story that feels very genuine and very here and now. That just, I'm amazed that it pulled that off, you know. And I think there's not much more to talk about, I think, in regards to, like, stuff that happens in the book, because I think it's more in the future of reveals that you just have to experience chapter by chapter, and you go, oh, okay, so this is what's going on. And Yamilet just gets dug deeper and deeper into holes of shenanigans that have to do with her pretending that she's straight, or that have to do with her realizing, oh no, I can't pretend that I'm straight around this person I like, or stuff with her family. There's a lot, and it's all great. I had a fun time reading this book, and I think it is now, yeah, one of my favorites. I mean, it's been a little while since I've added a book to, like, what I consider my favorites. but it's pretty high up there. And I was a little nervous about doing this, actually, for doing the video for this, because I wasn't sure I could convey all my thoughts. But I think I'm being fairly succinct, actually, looking at the time on here, in comparison to a lot of my other videos, at least. And again, part of that is I can't talk much more beyond the initial part of the premise in comparison to, say, for other books where the blurb talks more into the book in terms of events. This blurb kind of leaves it open-ended, though, for stuff that happens, like, beyond maybe 15 to 20% through the book. In fact, I think some of my favorite parts are during, like, the 30% area of the book, when you get 30% in. There's a specific scene I'm thinking of that is just peak family dynamic shenanigans, having to do with Caesar and Yamulet pretending she's straight, and their mom. So, just, yeah, not much more detail I can go into there. But it's funny. It involves spying, so that's always fun, you know. Yeah. Which penguin just fell? Sorry, this penguin apparently wanted to be closer to the camera, so here's the penguin. Did you enjoy the book? I don't think the penguin has read the book yet. You better start reading the book then, huh? Check it out from the library again, I guess. See if I can do a Pikachu thing. Set you on my shoulder. Not make too much noise. Hang on, I can do it. Give me maybe another. Oh, I did it. I can't lower my arm though. It's just gonna be here. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. You are an awesome listener. Alright, and whatever you do next, or wherever you go next, I hope it is fun and or relaxing, and or worthwhile to you. Ideally all three. So, yeah. I'm probably gonna go to sleep, but we'll see. Okay,